Somebody turn the heat on. Thank you.
Oh, that was Teresa, yeah.
Teresa, high five for Teresa.
Yeah, forward feels real good.
Feels good.
All right. Thank you. All righty, it looks like we got 5 o'clock. So work sessions are an opportunity for board members to discuss issues informally with staff and invited guests. The board encourages members of the public to attend work sessions and listen to discussion, but there's generally no opportunity for public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the board are welcome to do so during the board's regularly scheduled meetings. First is the discussion of a formal agenda. We've got the agenda for tonight's meeting. Any questions,
No.
comments?
I still keep wondering when we're gonna have a board retreat. I mean, for me, that's a lot of.
Yeah, I know, you've talked about it.
Yeah. Well, but
We're gonna
this-
talk about it more.
Yeah, good.
Okay, next is the agenda review. We've got the rolling agenda all the way down to March. Or actually April 2nd. Any questions on the rolling agenda? It's on the agenda.
We pushed off the TLT conversation until
June 23rd,
June-
July 23rd.
July
July.
23rd.
Yeah, so
So that
Sunny
will be
Dye will
on the
be,
agenda this evening.
yeah, Sunny Dye will be sometime in late June, so that'll give us about a month to figure out what impacts
Or
might
not.
generate or not, and then that might change what the recommendation is
perfect.
going forward, and all that was shared with Orla.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we're ready for our legislative date. Do we have Amanda
I
here
think Amanda's gonna be on,
joining us virtually?
yeah, virtually. Did you see Amanda? Okay, thank you.
Lettering.
Yes,
Okay, we'll have.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect.
And
I'm here.
Panelists, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Quayla, members of the board. So I'm just going to highlight a few bills, and then we can open it up for other things that you're wanting to talk about. But in particular, 2 bills that are pretty important to the county that were introduced yesterday. The first of which is the TLT bill, and that's HB 3556. And that's the one that's been kind of led by LOC, but the county's been really engaged in that effort. The chief sponsors are Rep. Javity, Rep. Walters, and Senator Weber. And so what it does with the 70-30 split, so right now the 70 split is for, the 70% is for tourism promotion and tourism related facilities. And so what this bill would do is add to that 70% tourism impacted services, which it defines that as public safety and community infrastructure. And so specifically for public safety, it says services provided by police department, sheriff's office, DA's office, fire department, search and rescue, or emergency medical services provider of a city, county, or special district. And then for community infrastructure, it says facilities for water, wastewater, transportation, recreation, and public amenities. And so that would be the financing, construction, operation, and maintenance of that infrastructure. And most important to the county is that public safety element. So that is the thing that CFM is really assisting us with and kind of engaging the stakeholders on and how important that element is for the county. And it was assigned to the House Committee on Emergency Management, General Government, and Veterans, which I'm just realizing now, is it more helpful that I talk about a bill and then we open it up for questions, or would you like me to, I just had like 4 bills to highlight and then we can do questions. What would you prefer?
We can go bill by bill, I think. Do you have any questions on TLT?
Only just keep us posted.
Okay.
Yeah, and when can we come testify and
Yeah,
what
there'll be-
you're doing? So
There'll be opportunities for sure, and I think one of the uncertainties for that bill is just whether it narrows as it goes through the legislative process. I know that there's some concern that right now having community infrastructure and all cities and counties might be a heavy lift.
Yeah.
So there might be a natural culling process that goes. There was a second bill that was dropped by Rep. Javity that defined recreational districts, which really included the 4 counties on the coast. And so we'll see whether or not it gets narrowed or whether it stays broad. So, but we're actively engaged in all of this conversation, and there'll be opportunities and important opportunities for your board to testify as we go through that. So.
Okay, Amanda?
All right, the second bill that's really important to the county that was introduced yesterday is the one about HOA fees, and that's HB 3545. So the chief sponsors on that, we have Rep. Javity, Rep. Edwards, and Rep. Pham. And so this is the bill that the county has been working on to address our current issue with the HOA fees continuing to grow at a certain property for properties that the county has received through the tax foreclosure process and using taxpayer dollars to pay HOA fees. And so unfortunately, the version that was introduced was the first draft that LC staff had created. Since that, the county had worked on a updated version, and that wasn't the one that was introduced. So CFM is going to be working so we can introduce an amendment, which would essentially get to the language that we were looking at. But what this means is, so the current bill, it provides a temporary exemption from HOA fees when a county receives a property through the tax foreclosure process for up to a maximum of 6 months. And so the amended version that we would be working on would be to extend that maximum exemption period up to 12 months, which kind of better reflects best case scenario for when a county receives, is deeded a property and then has to determine, go through the classification process in terms of how that property is best utilized, and then getting ready for the sale and all of that. Usually it's longer than that, but best case scenario is 12 months. And so that's kind of what we were looking at. And then it would also specify that after that exemption period ends, the fees would begin to accrue on the property, but the county would not be responsible for paying them. And so they would be paid either by the owner, by a new owner when it was purchased, or if it was transferred, or the county would pay it if they chose to lease on that property or chose to permanently retain that property. But then the last part would just be ensuring that as soon as the bill goes into effect, that that accrual period would be applicable to the county's current properties that have been received through tax foreclosure. So when the bill goes into effect, then the county would no longer be paying those fees, and those assessments would be accruing to that property. I think those are the only notes I have. Does anybody have any questions about that bill?
Not seeing any.
Another bill, which we've raised to high priority on the tracker, HB 2224. This is just a part of that bill, but it requires coordinated care organizations, governing bodies to include senior local health officials and county commissioners when possible. So this is a bill that AOC has really been engaged on. So I don't know, Commissioner Thompson, if there's anything that you'd like to talk about with this bill, because I know we've been sitting in on a lot of committee meetings in the last few days, so I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to.
I have a lot
Go
to
for
say. Yes, ma'am. Well, we've talked about the fact that our county commission does not have a representative on our CCO. That means that there's millions of dollars in public funds that are distributed in Clatsop County, and we have neither voice nor vote on that. And when I investigated this further, I ran into the same thing every time. This takes a legislative fix. So the fact that we have HB 2224 is a testimony to the concern that was raised on this Board of Commissioners, and that I carried forward in a dedicated way for many years. And now we have an opportunity to get our voice and our vote on the CCO board. I'm delighted. I hope it goes forward, because without that, our being the public health board and the mental health board loses meaning if we don't have voice and vote about how the money is actually spent. This is the delta between what Medicare and pays and what the providers receive. And those monies go to address the social determinants of health. I mean, I know Commissioner Aquila, you're familiar with this, but
Mhm.
here's our breakthrough opportunity. Hallelujah. Thanks, Amanda.
Okay, Amanda?
Thank you. The last bill I just kind of wanted to highlight, because I know that it's been brought up before. I think it was Commissioner Bangs. This bill is SB 779, and this would provide $2 million to support the operation of the Agri-Stress Helpline in Oregon. And there is, I was just looking it up, and it looks like there's a public hearing that is scheduled for the 20th. So if that's something that anybody wants to provide testimony on, I'm happy to help, whether it's scheduling remote or in-person testimony or drafting something, we can do that as well.
I would appreciate any drafting assistance, just mainly because I'm busy. But yeah, I will jump online and schedule myself for testimony. But if you can send me some technical notes or quotes, that would be percentages, numbers, that would be great.
What she's really saying is do better than Don did yesterday.
No, it actually ended up very well yesterday, so it was great.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I've just been asked by staffers and legislators and other folks to stick close to Salem so that I can show up and testify. Amanda, do you want me to connect with you when I'm going to be doing that?
Yeah, anytime, for any of the commissioners, and this coordination also is happening obviously with staff, but anytime the county is being represented in Salem or submitting testimony or anything, it's just helpful, whether I can provide support, whether CFM can provide support, just making sure that everybody's kind of looped in. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've been doing it on my own for a long time, so this is a shift for me. So forgive me if it's if I get a glitch every now and then, but I'll do my best to cooperate with you.
Yeah, because even if it's just that you've already registered or like you already have plans to go, then that way we can let CFM know, because if there's any reason that maybe it would be helpful for them to be attending that meeting or something like that.
And part of it too, commissioners, is that we update the notes too, so that other commissioners know what is in the works. So this is really kind of the document that hopefully supports the board.
Yeah.
Just to see where the board is, have these conversations about bills when we need to, because this is kind of what staff's using as our path forward. So.
Anthony has a question and then I do.
Oh, yeah, Commissioner Wakula.
Hi, thank you. Amanda, I was gonna ask, can you send me information on that bill? It's new to me. I'd like to read up on it and then, yeah, follow up with you afterwards.
Yeah, I can, I'll send an email to the board just providing the link and some information on it.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Banks?
I was just curious of the process or how we can make sure that when we're testifying in Salem, like I did for the Highway 30 bill last night, and how I'll continue to do it for a variety of different bills, how we make sure that when testifying, we are either doing it as an individual or as a commissioner. And so I want to be able to outline a process for us, because last night I wore my commissioner helmet representing District 4 where Highway 30 goes through. But halfway I switched and I said, this is very personal. Also, my daughter witnessed some really horrendous accidents. And so I brought the story around to personal to make it a little bit more,
Yeah.
get the point across. So I just want to make sure what is our process to make sure that we are carrying forward a board's voice in our testimonies as county commissioners, but if we're choosing to be individuals, how can we make sure that we're doing that?
Yeah.
And being respectful of the board and of our county constituents?
I think that's a good point.
Well, and what I would say, Commissioner Banks, members of the board, is that, I mean, I think this is a tool that can help with that, because we kind of said, as part of this, where we think the board is on these issues, and granted, and that's part of it is as board members look at this, if there's one that may raise a question about where the board is, then we can talk about that so that we can get a sense of where the majority of the board is. And then obviously those that have the board support are ones that are greenlit into representing as the board of commissioners, whether that's TLT, HOA, whether it's the CCO bill. If it's not that, though, obviously individual commissioners can still testify if they want to, but I think that's where the line of demarcation is then we would still put a note in here that a commissioner testified, but it may not be in support of the majority of the board's view. It could be a minority view,
Okay.
but we would put a note in here just so everybody knows
Okay.
what is happening, just so the board is communicating with each other. So we're trying to use this as a monitoring tool, but as a communication tool between board and staff. So, and
I like
that's why
the
we're gonna talk
transparency.
about it every week, so we can, what are the bills that we need to talk about to make sure that the majority will is reflected, and then making sure that all the notes are updated, so that we know who's been testifying, and basically as a majority or as their own district commissioner. So,
Perfect.
Good. Yeah, very helpful.
Well, that's a very different process, and I think it's a good one. It takes some adjustment. So that's the tracker, the bill tracker that you send out.
and then, yeah, and there's a note section that Amanda tracks kind of where we are with written testimony, oral testimony. And this is shared with CFM too. So it's a document, because we're trying to have a really integrated team
Coordinated.
approach with this. It doesn't mean that individual commissioners can't represent their own views. It's just that if Amanda knows, we can put it in the document. So,
Okay, in my role as an AOC policy co-chair or a member there, there's certain times I'm called on to testify. Do you want that information on there as well? Because I'm in a different role. I'm not in a county commissioner role per se. But if you want to have it
Well, I
on,
guess I don't understand that. Why are you not in a county commissioner role?
oh, because I'm the AOC policy committee chair. And I'm speaking as from an AOC policy committee, in the AOC position on certain.
Do you feel like you need to coordinate with the county manager and with the rest of the board on what you're going to be
I
testifying?
don't know, that's what I'm asking about. Because I've got all these different roles and I've got all these different relationships.
Sure.
And so I just want, this is a new process. So I'm just trying to get clear by asking
Commissioner Banks.
questions so that we are, pardon me, not almost, so that we are communicating completely and clearly. That's what I'm after.
So my question is would you be in that position if you weren't a county commissioner?
This leads into our other discussion.
Yeah, I think so. All of this is together. So,
Okay, well, we'll reach that next, I'm sure.
Anything else on
I
this,
do.
Commissioner Banks?
So I found out this evening that a bill that I was working with Senator Weber with last year is having a hearing. We didn't get a hearing last year, but it's having a hearing on Monday at 8:30. And it is a childcare tax credit bill. And so it is SB 467. And my plan is to testify if I'm given the opportunity. Just always seeking equity for our childcare providers and helping them to level up to as close to a living wage as we can possibly get them, either on the front side or the back side. So, but yeah, if we could put that on the tracker, if it's not already, and then I'm plotting to go that direction, and then, yes,
Yes, and the other one that you also mentioned was the Rep. Javity's bill regarding the cell phone towers.
yes,
And the lease of
yes.
cell phone tower space on state lands.
Yes, so I did want to mention to the rest of the board, I communicated with Senator Weber this week regarding that bill. And brought forth information that I had gathered from Dan Goody at the Department of Forestry. And how much money we receive as a county within our 2/3 split. And what potential impact that would have. And so Senator Weber said that she would speak with Rep. Javity on Monday to see the rhyme and the reason, and whether it goes forth or pulls back, or whether it evolves or changes. But rough numbers is Clatsop County receives, it's in a text that I sent to the senator. Clatsop County receives roughly, scrolling, roughly a revenue stream of $188,000. That will be inclusive of the new contracts that they are establishing, negotiating right now. So currently, the combined for Tillamook and Clatsop is $192,000, but there's an additional $77,000 pending negotiation, which is already completing. And so the total would be 269,000 of that revenue stream. Clatsop Forest is 188,000. And then it looks like our 2/3 split would be 125,000.
And that's House Bill 3251.
Yeah. So it's a work in progress. I spoke with the senator. I just wanted to make sure that they could have a discussion about it. If need be, I can join the discussion, or we as a county or CFM can join the discussion.
We'll make sure it's on the list and as the note.
And then there is a levy for the, there's the levies,
Yeah, it's the 15 million
$15 million.
for the levy grant, which is House Bill 2693.
Yeah,
So
so I think it would be good if we support that as well.
Yeah.
It
Can
comes
you
up
say
every,
more about that? Because I'm not.
yeah, every session they come up with a $15 million ask for repairs, for levy certification efforts for dikes throughout the counties and throughout the state. And, you know, it usually gets gobbled up by Multnomah County. There isn't a great deal of money that gets left over, but there were some funds that Warrenton was able to utilize for their phase 1, which is the internal drainage study. And they have a lot more work to do. It would be fantastic if they could access the geotechnical portion. That's that phase 2. That's a $2 million lift. And this would be one way that they could possibly fund it.
May I?
yes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wakula.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Baines, regarding the SB 467, would it be okay if I follow up with you after this meeting? I'd like to hear a little bit more about what your plan is for that testimony.
Depends, which one is that? Sorry,
That's
I
the
need words.
childcare.
The childcare one. Yes, definitely.
All right. Would love to hear about it. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Amanda or any other discussion? Any other bills that we need to be adding to the tracker? Okay. All right.
Chair Quayla, if I may, I know, just to help kind of clarify our process. So when CFM will flag a bunch of bills for us to go through, and then there's other ones that we're looking at. And essentially what I'm doing is either has to do with subject matter that I'm aware of, or it's a department head or another manager. And usually what's happening is I'll be emailing them that bill to kind of get their feedback, and then we're putting that on the tracker. So like Don was saying, if you're looking at the tracker and there's any bill that you're like, hey, we should be raising this priority level, or we want to change the suggested position or want to add notes or anything like that, definitely reach out, whether then we can incorporate it in these discussions, or if it's just a quick note that we can do on the tracker. And then also I just wanted to note that if there's a particular bill that you may want more information on, or maybe an analysis, we've created kind of bill analysis form that I can provide that department head or that staff member that might have that expertise. And it just kind of lists out like, what's the problem that it's trying to solve? Does it actually solve that problem? Are there any concerns and that kind of stuff? So if there are specific bills that when you're looking at the tracker and that note section doesn't quite give you enough information on it, or especially a lot more complicated bills, just let me know. And then we can follow up with the staff that would have that information. Also, I'm really sorry that it's getting so dark. I'm like slowly disappearing.
The sun's going down.
Yes, and there's not a lot of lighting in this room. So, but that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. And then, yeah, I think that like the $15 million for the levy, I think there is a hearing next Wednesday or something. So if we can get some written testimony available for that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay,
you very
next-
much.
Next item, we wanted to discuss the board travel, and I appreciate Teresa and everybody for pulling the numbers to kind of look at our expenses for the last couple of years and then also for this year. And the final page breaks down what the expenses to date are, pretty much line by line, and then also the anticipated expenses for the year. So I think we want to take an opportunity to kind of review this. And as you can see, you know, year after year, Commissioner Thompson consumes the bulk of the travel expenses. Last year being about $12,000. We had a total budget of $17,000. We did go over budget. And then this year already we have $5,000 in expenses. You know, we had a per budget commissioner a share of $3,100 each. And then we're looking at some of these anticipated expenses. One of them is a retreat that Commissioner Thompson wants to attend in Sisters. And I know that Commissioner Bangs and I are planning to go to Washington, DC at the end of the month. So I think we need to get a handle on this and have it in front of us every month so we can take an opportunity to review. And I think we also need to look at what our anticipated expenses are for the rest of the year, knowing that if we execute all of these, we're going to be over budget.
Mhm. Well, so
And I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah.
Commissioner Thompson, you don't have any liaison assignments anymore. So it doesn't make sense to me that you're consuming the bulk of the travel expenses. I know that your work with AOC you feel is very valuable. And I know that, we've accomplished a lot as a county government. We've had our, administration, all of our department heads. We've had our legislative policy analysts and working with CFN advocates, that we've been able to accomplish these things with our relationships with local and state leaders, with community partners. And I can't say that AOC has been a significant part of a lot of these accomplishments in my mind. I think the things that we have done have been because of what we've done here in the county. And it's been successful. We had a lot of accomplishments in this. Now, I just, I have a heartburn about this AOC conference because at the conference you went to in November, you tried to remove Commissioner Bangs as the CFTLC member on behalf of Clatsop County. You did so knowing that the board of commissioners, they didn't tell me, didn't tell the county manager, didn't tell Commissioner Toyota. None of us knew that that was going on. And then had voted as a majority for Commissioner Banks to be our liaison, our CFTLC member.
When did we do that?
We did that. The year before. And you know that you tried to do this at the conference without telling anybody. So then in December, we did again have a vote for who our CFTLC representative is. And we appointed Commissioner Banks. But that gives me great pause about where your role is. You said yourself, you're an AOC, policy person, and that your role there is separate from what you're doing here as the board, because you don't need to consult with anybody. You haven't talked to our county manager in 3 months. And so why would we be paying for, as a board, for you to attend an AOC conference when your role, you see it as a completely separate deal? It isn't. Remember, it isn't representing the board anymore. It is your role as an AOC executive. And I
May I
just,
speak now?
yes,
Well, I appreciate the fact that we're looking at the money. What I will say is that in my over 10 years on the board, nobody has ever said to me, Commissioner Thompson, what's your work plan as a county commissioner? You say AOC isn't a liaison. I say it's a liaison because it's a connection to the community of commissioners and judges and chairs all over Oregon who are working together collaboratively to be effective with the state legislature and the governor to speak for counties as a whole, because that gives us a stronger voice. Because of my extensive involvement with AOC, because it's been a positive involvement, I've been AOC's delegate to a variety of other bodies, including the one that makes the recommendation to Business Oregon about, well, you know this, and you know that it isn't just seismic rehabilitation. It was almost, $6 million. And if you count the NAPA money, it's over $6 million. I mean, that's a lot of money for Clatsop County. That's because I have positive relationships developed over time as a county commissioner. I'd say it's not separate, it's related. But the question is, what's the nature of the relationship? Because I've been doing it since before anybody else sitting at this table was here. And it goes beyond that. It's the jurisdictional transfer advisory group that's part of the legislature, and Rep. Bowman, that's part of ODOT. It's also LCDC. I mean, time after time, I represent not just Clatsop County, but Clatsop County as a partner with the other counties so that we can be effective with the Department of Human Services, the Oregon Health Authority. I mean, it's a whole other network. Now, I'm delighted that all this is developing, but nobody said proactively, let's sit down and plan what we're going to do. Let's look at what our budgets are. So I just continue the work that I've been doing. That whole thing in November was a direct result of what Commissioner Bangs did when she questioned my capacity, when I offered that. Well, see, this is why I say you don't listen to me, because as long as I say things that you can agree with, I think you listen well. And I would say further, I think everybody in this room is devoted to doing the best job they can for Clatsop County. I think we're going to have differences of opinion. My complaint has been that we don't have adequate opportunity to talk with each other outside of these 4 times a month that we're here in front of the cameras. I'm just not done yet. Wait a minute. We don't have adequate opportunity outside these 4 times a month that we have a very strict script. And if we have conflicts, we don't have the opportunity to work them out. And it's been like that for years. I have begged repeatedly for us to have a retreat so that we can work on the gnarly issues, because we have gnarly issues that are unresolved. This is what I was talking about in January when I said we have 3-2 splits, and I've seen it over time. It doesn't matter which party, even though we are legally nonpartisan, it doesn't matter which party has the 3 votes. Whoever has the 3 votes has a hard time listening to the other side. And that's just a function. Commissioner Banks, can you just wait for me to finish speaking, please? This is something that I see as an ongoing issue with our culture. I think we all have good intentions. I think we get crosswise with each other, and I want to see us work it out. I want to see us proactively plan before we, after the fact, say, oh, here's what it is. And it's wrong, because right now this appears to me to be vindictive and counterproductive.
And I'm going to say couple of things before Commissioner Banks. Second of all, the first thing is these travel expenses, this is not new. This comes back to when you had Scott Lee as the chair and Cam Moore as county manager. You had the same discussion. We talked about you consuming all of the travel budget. So this isn't brand new, like this is like a surprise. You've known that you've been
Because
doing
I'm the
this.
one doing the traveling. I'm the one going outside Clatsop County.
By
to
personal
do
choice.
This is elected.
So I have the floor. I haven't yielded it.
No, this
Because
is not
No.
pure floor.
This
I
is a
got it,
control.
but I'm still talking. Here's the point.
But you're
I
gonna
go
talk all
outside,
evening,
I
Commissioner
go
Thompson,
outside.
and with half
This
truths
is,
and
you know what?
falsehoods.
This is the kind of thing that we're doing that's not productive.
Yeah, it's not productive to provide half truths. It is not productive. You are correct. And it is not productive to not allow or yield to another commissioner to answer all of your accusations. So what I will say is I question your capacity of time.
I
That is
didn't hear,
that's
and that's
exactly what it
exactly-
was. I was there.
everybody
We were all there.
Everybody, we did this in a
I
public
know,
meeting.
I know how to manage my time, and I didn't,
And I questioned your capacity of time because you quit your liaison positions.
I manage my time to be most effective.
And you quit your liaison positions. And so that was why I
I
questioned
passed
your
them.
capacity.
Well,
Now at AOC, you took our charter and you circumvented our charter as a county board and tried to circumvent a position on a liaison with a two-person vote. Our charter states you must have 3 people approve any liaison or board appointments. And so, and you knowingly went there and you knowingly threw me under a bus.
so
And you threw this county under that same bus by trying to circumvent our charter, and I'm not done yet. And so there went all trust for our county board to be able to say, yes, please represent us at AOC with blind trust. Because that moment was a moment of reckoning for us as a board to realize that you took a situation and you tried to capitalize on it by circumventing the rest of your board. And personal feelings aside, I follow the rules. And so the rules state you need a 3-person vote to appoint anyone to any position, but you also have a budget per commissioner here. And we're asking our entire staff and our entire county to adhere to a very tight budget. We are cutting the fat right now. We are cutting the fat and it's not an elective position for us to be in where we can just hand money out to individual commissioners. We need to also be very cognizant of our own budget and cut our own fat. And so I'm not saying what you're doing at AOC is right or wrong right now because I don't know. I say I don't have trust because that trust was broken before Christmas. But what I will say is you're not adhering to your budget per commissioner allotment. And in doing so, you're putting us over budget. You're minimizing our ability to do work for the county. You're minimizing my ability to find lodging in Salem for an overnight so I don't have to drive in the snow. So to do one of my liaison positions that I was appointed to do. And so what I'm feeling is a lack of trust because not only did you discard your liaison positions that you were appointed to do for personal feelings, you have driven your own path for the last 5 months. And you've cut us off. And I was very pointed with you when I said, I can forgive, but it does not rebuild a relationship. Okay, and so I am asking you to be a part of this group, to communicate with your staff, with your manager, with your chair. And not run your own ship like you have for the last 3 days.
So here's the thing. I was nothing but good to you for 4 years before you were even
Then you
seated.
screwed me.
So if I can just, I offered to help you because there was concern about some of the meetings that you've been part of, and I thought I could help. When I asked you off the dais, because I had offered to talk with you many times and you just kept reducing the time. When I offered off the dais, your response was, let's talk about it at a board meeting. Let's put it on the agenda.
Because it needs to be in
Yeah.
public.
Because
Because
That's-
you misconstrue, obviously, everything that I say. And you've misconstrued what occurs in the meetings, because guess what? All of my meetings are also in public. So if you feel like there's an issue with the meetings that I am speaking and all of the public meetings that I am in, that's your personal issue. The majority of the board has found and supported me in that position, in those meetings that you find that you're contesting, my whatever, how.
Well, my point is, you could have just said, no, I don't want to, I'd rather not do that. I would have said, fine. But what you said was, let's put it on the agenda. I thought, great, we're gonna figure out how to.
This is not a
collaborate.
decision for me to make, it's a decision for the team to make.
I was asking your personal response out of respect for you.
But I'm not a singular person in this representative role, I am one of a group. And so the group deserves to be part of the discussion.
Commissioner Queeler, can you see that we need to have a retreat?
No.
I'll tell you what, we all got interviewed by the facilitator and talked about, and really it came down to, we're all on the team. I mean, I've been through a retreat with you. And it got personal and petty, and it got about how you were being mistreated. And that's not a kind of retreat that I want to be a part of. If it's going to be team building, I'm all for it. But right now, I feel like we got a pretty good team. I feel like we're doing really good things. And I feel like it's always someone that's not real happy, that's causing a lot of the discontent and drama because they don't want to be part of the team.
So I have some cognitive dissonance. Because all of the other roles that I'm in, I appear to be doing pretty well. But here at Clatsop County, it's just, it isn't working like that. As you pointed out, it's been like that.
And it's been like
Yeah,
that before me.
I'll tell you,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, really, this has been a conflict-ridden board for a long time. and it
it really, the conflict is driven by, I think, you, Commissioner Thompson. And I will tell you, after we had this conversation with Commissioner Bangs, you called me on the phone and you said, I'm gonna step off the board
I said,
unless I'm the chair, unless I'm the vice chair or the CFTLC representative, or unless I get to handpick my replacement. And I didn't think you were gonna even be here at the meeting in January, so I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised when you joined, because now you have decided that you're gonna remain. But I also know that it was implied that you're gonna kind of be making everybody miserable, because you're gonna be part of it.
here's the thing. The reason I really thought about leaving because what I.
Well, you told me you were going to.
Yeah. I think I probably misspoke out of passion and pain, because really I had physical pain. The chair said, oh, Commissioner Banks' comments were benign. No, I didn't perceive them as benign. Could be totally.
You could
totally
need to
my fault.
review the work session, like people have encouraged you repeatedly to review. When I talk about capacity, I'm only talking about capacity of your time.
You're talking about my capacity to manage my time, which is something
Which
that
you
is.
quit other
that you had a
liaison
problem.
positions.
So here's the thing. We are talking past each other and we continue to do that. This is why I'm looking for ways to impact this system, because what I've seen for a long time is there are ways that we could function more productively. I haven't been effective, I think, as I've wanted to be.
I
in
don't
how
want you
we-
to be as
in how
effective
we
as you want to
function.
be.
Go ahead, Commissioner Thompson.
You know, we all care about the county.
100%. It is about the county. It is not about us as individuals. But when somebody takes an individual role, then it is no longer about the county. It is about that one singular person. And that one singular person needs to be remembering that we are a team. And we don't throw our team out the door because for personal reasons, personal hurts, personal misconstrues of sentences or statements.
And I know we're having this discussion. I wanted to have this discussion with the county manager, you know, that I reached out to you for a couple months and you didn't. And then county manager, you haven't talked to since November.
No, because.
That would be a good start if you start
No,
communicating.
No. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Whether it's my personal temperament or shortcomings or being here in this situation, whatever. The way the rest of my public service career is going, I get very different feedback. It's hard for me to put together what's happening here with the good results that I have and the feedback I get every place else. I don't know how to solve this. You don't want to have a retreat. We have a meeting like this, which is very unpleasant. I don't
Yeah,
think
it is.
anybody wants to have
It
it.
is unpleasant.
But I tell you, I really was ready to leave and I had enough people ask me to stay because of the difference I make all over the rest of the world.
But
You know?
whose team are you on then at that point? Are you on our team and are you communicating with us and with our county manager
Are you
and with the
listening
staff?
to me? You told me you didn't want to talk to me. You only would talk to me if I agreed to meet with you.
But I'm not your
and-
board chair and I'm not the county manager. I take my direction from the board as a collective. And if you're not communicating with a central force within this county, you have no idea what the direction of the county is.
You know, I don't agree with that.
Part of being on a team is communication, and I told you no,
Surveys.
because I won't speak to you in private because I don't trust you. I'll speak to you all day long in public.
Well,
And in a public setting and in a public meeting, I'll speak to you all day long and we can discuss any issues we can discuss. But my protection is the fact that I'm doing it in a public setting. That is my protection.
and I'm looking for protection in a public setting too, because frankly, I was gobsmacked. I thought we were gonna talk about how to collaborate. And when you said no, I'm against it. All you had to
Oh, I
say.
can pull up the email again and read it out loud if you
No,
like.
I'm talking
Because
about
it's
when you
public
and I were
information.
talking. And I just said, hey, I can run to be chair of the Council of Forest Trust Lands, and then we can have two voices on that committee.
And as a
more-
team, we needed to discuss it.
Well. Like
Because
this.
it's not, I'm not the person running the entire team. Having you add a liaison position has to be a team approved discussion.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think getting back to the travel expenses.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna do my job, whether or not Clatsop County pays. me. I've
Right.
subsidized Clatsop County for years.
Yep.
My point is, if we were planning the work of the commission, that's why I want to keep saying, can we talk about the role of the commissioner, the role of the chair, the role of the liaison assignments, how we work together, how that work relates to staff, so that we can plan. If we can plan, we can budget, we can communicate, we can be more effective. I've been asking for this for months. And there's one reason or another, and it doesn't happen. And, you know,
Yeah.
if there's anything I've said or done that has made that more difficult, I apologize, but I've done lots of different retreats with a lot of different kinds of people. So in my mind, that's an effective way to be able more effectively. It works some places. I don't know that it would work here. I don't know what will work here. But for me, this is like the professional equivalent of a domestic violence situation. That's what that's like for me. That's why I declined closed door meetings. You know, that could be my particular shortcoming, but I'll tell you, it's my lived experience. And what we're doing here tonight doesn't change that in any positive direction. So,
Well, I think we'll wrap this up. And you just mentioned yourself, you feel comfortable paying for your own way to go to,
oh,
you know,
I've
this
done it
stuff,
for
I think,
subsidized
I think
it for years, so. have
under
other
the
towns.
circumstances, I think. Yeah, I
Subsidized
think it's probably.
Bledsoe
best to
County,
take-
yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
we'll go ahead and take a few minutes and we'll reconvene here at 6. All right. The Board of Commissioners, as the governing body of Clatsop County, all county service districts for which this body so acts, and as the Clatsop County Local Contract Review Board, is now meeting in regular session. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then, Clerk of the Board, can we have the roll call?
Chair Quila,
Here.
Vice Chair Banks, Commissioner Wakua,
Here.
Commissioner Webb,
And Commissioner Webb is excused.
and Commissioner Thompson. I'm here.
All right, I want to welcome everybody here this evening. First item is the agenda approval. We had an opportunity to review the agenda during a work session. Any comments, questions? Ready for a motion?
I move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. First item is a proclamation for Black History Month on page 3. And I'll turn over to our County Manager, Don Boone.
Chair Quayla, members of the board, Black History Month is a month-long commemoration of African American history and achievement. The theme for Black History Month 2025 is African Americans and Labor, which focuses on the many ways Black people have worked from jobs during slavery to skilled and unskilled work and work done to help their communities. Staff is asking that your board approve the resolution order proclaiming February 2025 to be Black History Month and has authorized the chair to read and then sign the proclamation.
Okay, thank you, Don. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution and order proclaiming February 2025 to be Black History Month and authorize the chair to read and then sign the proclamation. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the resolution and order proclaiming February 2025 to be Black History Month and authorize the chair to read, then sign the proclamation. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. In the matter of proclaiming the period from February 1st through February 28th, 2025 to be Black History Month. Whereas the theme for Black History Month 2025 is African Americans and Labor, which focuses on the many ways Black people have worked from jobs during slavery to skilled and unskilled work, and even work done to help their communities. And whereas throughout history, the work of African Americans has made a big difference, from growing food during slavery times to starting businesses and joining labor unions to fight for fair treatment, Black people's work has shaped our country. And whereas understanding the history of Black labor helps us better understand the history, culture, and lives of Black people. And whereas the Association for the Study of African American Life and History has chosen the theme African Americans and Labor to help people think about the many ways Black work has made an impact in the United States, Africa, and beyond. And whereas in Clatsop County, African Americans have played important roles, including York, an enslaved African American who was a key member of the Lewis and Clark expedition, helping as a scout and hunter during their stay at Fort Clatsop in 1805 and 1806. James D. Sauls, a Black sailor who settled near Astoria in the 1840s, working as a maritime pilot and building a shipping enterprise between Fort George and Cathlamet. And Julia Shorey and her children, Victoria and William, who resided in Hammond in the early 1900s, representing one of the few African-American families in Clatsop County at the time. Julia was the widow of Captain William T. Shorey, known as the Black Ahab, the only Black captain operating on the West Coast in the late 19th century. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Clatsop County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim February 2025 as Black History Month, honoring the theme African Americans and Labor in Clatsop County, and we invite all community members to join in this month of observance and celebration. We encourage everyone to learn about and reflect on the important contributions of African Americans to labor and society, both across the nation and here in Clatsop County. Dated this 12th day of February 2025, Board of Clatsop County Commissioners, Clatsop County, Oregon. All right, the next item is National FFA Week. We have a proclamation, and we have student Sam Moss and Jude Rochon. Welcome, you guys. I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Jude Rochon. I'm a first-year member of FFA. The real reason I joined FFA was because people like Sam Moss and Tess Hall just told me I was going to do a speech for being a speaker. I really thought FFA was only for farmers that just wanted kids that wanted to show at county fair. I didn't know how many competitions you could do, but I learned a bunch of new things about FFA. I also learned a bunch of things that helped me improve in daily life skills and things that will help me in my adulthood. People like Sam Moss has really helped me throughout my speech and going districts. I went districts and presented my speech in front of 4 judges. I ended up getting first place in prepared beginner speaker.
Right.
This was only because of Sam Moss and Tess Hall.
Congratulations. You got a lot of props, Sam, so.
Oh, my name is Sam Moss. I'm currently a senior at Astoria High School, and I'm a 4-year FFA member. I joined FFA my freshman year really not knowing what agriculture was or what, honestly, FFA was. I'm not a farmer, and I will never claim to be because that's just not who I am. But coming into taking an agriculture class my freshman year, I learned what FFA was, and I started going to meetings, and I quickly found a family within FFA. I found about competitions that I could do without having to have an agriculture background. Some of my favorite competitions were food science and prepared public speaking. My sophomore year, I did prepared public speaking, and I did inflation on agriculture. It was a topic that I was super passionate about, and I went in and I tried my best, and I failed. I did not succeed like I wanted to. Top 2 get to move on to districts and or sectionals, and I don't even think I placed in the top 4. I was crushed. I didn't know if this was for me. I didn't know if I could take another loss like that. But through perseverance, I was able to come back, and I wrote another speech my junior year on mental health in agriculture. It was a topic that I found anyone could relate to, and everyone has feelings that are valid, and it was just something that I knew being 17, I might not have the same experience that someone who is 45 does, but I've definitely felt the same, or not, maybe not the same, but I've definitely felt emotions, and I felt emotions on a deep level as they might have. I gave my speech, and I got second at districts. I moved on to the sectional level, and I got second at sectionals, and I had the opportunity to give my speech at the state level, so I made it to the top 8 in the state for public speaking. And that was all because FFA's taught me perseverance and resilience to continue to go full bore ahead, even when sometimes you may fail. Some of the traveling opportunities I've had were WLC, and that was the Washington Leadership Conference. At the state level, I made it to the state level for a scholarship, for a $1,200 scholarship to go to Washington, D.C. in that summer. I ended up winning the scholarship. I was one of the 2 students in the state of Oregon to win it. I went to Washington, D.C., and that was an amazing experience. Being from the Oregon coast, we were one of the furthest traveled away that week, about how far we traveled. We took a red eye there. It was definitely a long week, but it was something so fun for me to do. I learned a lot about what agriculture was. I learned how to be a better leader, how I could bring that back and implement it into my community and help my chapter grow. I was able to meet kids from all around the state. I still keep in contact with a couple of kids I met from Wisconsin. They're really cool guys, but we don't have the same background. They were in agriculture. They did agriculture, and I'm not, but we're still able to meet on common grounds, which was the FFA. I was able to make a living to serve plan at the Washington Leadership Conference, and I brought it back to our chapter that I was able to also implement it into my senior project. I wanted to bring back something I could do in the community that could bring value and help our community grow. I decided that a mental health seminar for local agriculturalists and industrial workers would be the best option for me to do and something that I'm passionate about, and that I could hopefully have and make it where kids in the future wanted to do it as well, make this a yearly thing. I was able to partner with two ladies at the OSU Extension Office for the AgriStress Helpline, and they came down. They were amazing. They helped me with the QPR training, and they really helped give the information that I couldn't about mental health and how to reach out for help. I was also able to work with Pastor Angelo Showerman at the New Life Church, and he came down and he offered any resources we offer locally. We went to nationals this year, and that was an amazing experience. It was my second year I was able to go, and we just meeting kids all around the states is something that I'll never get tired of. I was able to meet people that come from completely different backgrounds than me and may have completely different views than me, but we were all able to relate on something, and that was FFA. But at the national level, we were able to earn a 2-star chapter, and that was the highest out of anyone in the state of Oregon. There was multiple chapters that earned 2-star, but no one got the 3-star chapter that we're all striving for. We just had our membership counted. We have 420 members. So this is students taking agriculture classes, whether that be in the high school or in the middle school with Mr. Clark. This number is not official until Saturday, so it might fluctuate a couple or something like that. We had our Northwest District Convention on February 1st. We had Isabel Bigda place 3rd in sophomore public speaking, Mavry placed 3rd in advanced public speaking, Kale Johnson placed 1st in beginning extemporaneous speaking, Sophia Rickenbaugh placed 3rd in the FFA info quiz, Caitlin McCauley placed 4th in the FFA info quiz. The kids that are moving on to sectionals, we had Shaylin Bangs place 1st in the creed speaking, Jude Rochon placed 1st in beginning public speaking, Landon Reed placed 2nd in sophomore public speaking, Sam Moss placed 1st in advanced public speaking, and Caden Savison placed 2nd in extemporaneous speaking. These students will all be moving on to the sectional level, and if they place in the top 2 at the sectional level, they get the opportunity to move on to the state level and hopefully win it. Also on to state, we have our state degrees. We had Mavry Bergerson, Caleb Stampley, William Phillips, Arabella Jones, Aubrey Ann Jones, and Kiefer Higginbotham. They will all be receiving their state FFA degree this year. Also moving on to the state level, we had the Treasurer's Book, that placed 1st at districts. Secretary's Book placed 1st at districts. Chapter Digital Scrapbook placed 1st at districts. Miley Barnhart placed 1st in the district co-op quiz. Kiefer Higginbotham, Isabella Bigda, Nora Soul moving on to state for agriculture issues. This year, I also have the opportunity as an FFA state officer candidate. I get the opportunity to run and hopefully get one of the elite 6 positions for the FFA state office. If I get that, I'm committing a year of service of my life, travel around the state of Oregon and inform. I get an opportunity to go to every school, inform kids about what FFA is, and really grow the next leaders of FFA. One thing I think FFA does, and this is the most important thing I truly believe, is I truly believe it makes the next generation of leaders. The skills I've learned in FFA have shaped who I am today. If you would have came up to me freshman year, I would not have been able to sit in front of you and give a speech or talk about anything that I'm able to do without FFA. I couldn't hold a conversation with 2 people. I was too nervous, and joining FFA, I got pushed so far out of my comfort zone, I had no choice but to grow. And I believe that no matter the competition you do in FFA, it will always push you out of your comfort zone and will grow the next leaders to who they are and hopefully lead the country. With that, I'm more than happy to announce National FFA Week.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. You guys, both Sam and Jude, you are great ambassadors for FFA. It is a terrific program. I know you know a lot about it, but yeah, what an achievement and a great showing by the entire group. That's awesome. So thank you both for being here and thank you for presenting this. And do we have a motion?
Before I say my motion.
Yes, go ahead.
You guys bring back some wonderful memories of being an FFA advisor. And this program just continues to evolve. And so whomever's listening, I am so proud of how our community is exploding in blue jackets. It's impressive. It's just been 15 years from when I was doing it till now, but it is impressive. So I love seeing it, and congratulations. And congratulations to your teacher, Tess and Charlie Hall. They are creating quite a legacy. These kids are going to remember you forever. So I move to approve the resolution and order proclaiming February 15th through 22nd, 2025 to be National FFA Week, and authorize the chair to read and then sign the proclamation.
Second the motion.
It's moved and seconded to approve the resolution and order proclaiming February 15th through the 22nd, 2025 to be National FFA Week, and authorize the chair to then sign the proclamation. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. In the matter of proclaiming February 15th through 22nd, 2025 to be National FFA Week, whereas FFA and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resources systems. And whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members. And whereas agricultural education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in science, business, and the technology of agriculture. And whereas state, regional, county, and local governments are taking actions to address climate change, and that these efforts are led by elected officials and community partners. And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction and purpose to these students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, leadership, patriotism, and cooperation. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Clatsop County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim February 15th through the 22nd, 2025 as National FFA Week in Clatsop County, and invites the community to celebrate FFA members, students, and their families, faculty, and staff, participating businesses, alumni, and supporters of our local Astoria FFA chapter. Dated this 12th day of February 2025, Board of Clatsop County Commissioners for Clatsop County, Oregon. Thank you both for being here.
Yes, and are we passing a lamb, a pig, or a sheep this year? A lamb, okay. Nice. Businesses, please be prepared to donate.
What is that?
So it's passed, so they basically, I don't know, they just, a business pays, and then you pass it to the next business, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a fun fundraiser.
Fundraiser.
Yes, it's a fun fundraiser, and a little bit of a gag, too.
I got it. Oh, great. Thank you, Sam and Jude.
Thank you guys
very
so
much
much.
for being here. Fantastic job. Thank you. That was great. So business from the public, this is an opportunity for anyone to give a 2-minute presentation about any item on the agenda, except for public hearings, or any topic of county concern that is not on the agenda. So clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
Okay. And I know we have Counselor Dana Gould, who is here this evening. So, Counselor, if you want to come up. And we have a handout that she's provided that we can refer to here.
Yeah, I would bring your attention to about halfway through the packet at the top heading says automatic and/or mutual aid. Well, I don't know how to follow that up. I hope that someday I'll be, as, you know, my public speaking abilities will meet theirs. But again, I'm Counselor Gould, but I am here representing myself, bringing to your attention something that I think that should be brought to your attention. It's no secret, I don't think, that Gearhart is again pursuing a public safety building project. And I'm here to speak to you, follow up on the email that I sent you a couple of weeks ago explaining why I think this is important, not just to Gearhart, but to Clatsop County. As you know, all of our first responder agencies in this county work together, and I would illustrate, I guess the best comparison I could think of for the way that they all operate together would be to compare it to Portland, you know, where you have different fire stations, different police departments all working together. Now imagine taking one of those out in the middle of the city, and imagine the impact that would have not only on the people immediately close to that station, but in the peripheral areas, how much longer their wait times would be, and the possibility of less folks being available to respond to their problems. So this is a countywide problem, and if you look at this page, you'll see that it shows that in last year and also in the year prior to that, it's not demonstrated in this document, about half of our calls were to either the Gearhart Rural Fire District, which is in with your purview, or to other agencies in the county. So we are very important to the overall emergency response network. We have, I believe, learned from past mistakes. We've gone out for a bond before, and as you know, bonds don't always pass the first, second, sometimes not even the third time. But we think we've learned from the mistakes. Our engaged public is actively pursuing a design. Our goal is to have it on the November ballot, and I am just seeking any and all support that we can get for this. I want people to understand how important it is, and I'm happy to answer any questions, give tours, or ask or receive any advice.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments, questions?
I just appreciate you coming in and sharing. I think it's amazing
Absolutely.
because it's definitely integral to our community.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know this is a passion of yours, so I really do appreciate that.
It is.
And, I mean,
Thank
this
you
is
so much.
so very important. Yeah, thank you, Counselor. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Do we have any other business from the public?
No, we do not.
Okay. We'll move on to the consent calendar.
Mr. Chair, I had a comment on the consent calendar. Ordinarily, I would, take a closer look at consent items that total almost $1 million. The mark of my, trust and respect for Terry Hendricks that I just say, pass the consent calendar, because I trust that he has given us items that are well vetted and, worthy of our support.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Any other comments? Are we ready for a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Thompson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I mentioned before that, we'd received a thank you note from Commissioner Phil Brady, who was one of the commissioner exchanges. Commissioner Brady's a Wasco County Commissioner. I'm going to read you this thank you note from him. Thank you, Leanne, for the fabulous, fun, and fact-filled tour of Clatsop County. Some of my big memories and new ideas are: fish is hard, dangerous work. Logging is hard, dangerous work. The FEMA BIOP is restricting already limited land. The HCP is restricting already limited land. Wonderful people are doing land conservation work. Wonderful people are doing recovery and housing work. Oregon is a great place to be working in government. Thank you again. So,
Very nice.
he's co-chair of AOC Health and Human Services, and they're working on the deflection program. So he has a much better on-the-ground idea of what our deflection program actually involves now. So that helps. On a more somber note, Sam Steidel passed unexpectedly. I talked with his widow yesterday, and she said March 3rd is going to be the memorial in Cannon Beach at the Coaster at 1 o'clock. So for those of us who knew and loved Sam, it's a sobering reminder that we all go sometime. In regard to AOC work, I promised Amanda Rappenchuk I would bring a couple of, booklets that were passed out about the Oregon Producer's Guide to Predator Attacks on Livestock. We don't usually think about having all that much livestock in Clatsop County, but we have more and more predators here. So I'm going to pass these on to the county manager and ask them to be delivered because we're working on taking action on predators. I also wanted to just quote Gina Nickel, the executive director of the Association of Oregon Counties. She said, "The AOC is a solutions-based, nonpartisan, locally controlled body that is appreciated by legislators and state agency heads. This is the place where members of the governing bodies from all over Oregon come together to work for not only our individual counties, but for all counties together in Oregon and local government." The CCO situation, we've talked about the hope that we have with this House Bill 2224, that we will actually have more effective voice and vote in that body because it is so many millions of dollars worth of public dollars that are being worked for the benefit of Clatsop County residents. It makes sense to me that we do have effective interaction with that body and participation in their governance. I think that's enough for tonight, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Banks?
Commissioner Thompson's note of predators, and I just think of the bear that I had on my trail cam behind my house the other day. So we have lions and bears. It's pretty exciting back there in my backyard. Anyhow, and raccoon and bobcat and all of the things. But overall, the last couple of weeks have been exciting because legislative session has opened. I was very excited to testify on the Highway 30 bill. Hopefully we can get that pushed through and get to the first step of fixing that highway so it is safer to travel. Monday morning, there is a child care bill that is up that I'll be testifying on. It's to provide a tax break to child care employees. It's hopefully one more step to making those folks have a living wage, and granted, it's not on the front side, but it would be a reward on the back side. From there, I was at a emergency fair board meeting yesterday evening. Our new fair board members are extremely intelligent, well-versed individuals who have the county's, community's best interests at heart. And they have just risen to the challenge, and hopefully in the future the community can come together and we will see an amazing fair this year and next year. They did move to attempt to bring a carnival back to the fair in the year of 2026. I've yet to hear if that contract is actually, been solidified, but they're in their first steps to trying to achieve having a carnival for our community again. One thing I made note from the staff report was that post-COVID and then every year, following, our attendance to our fair has been cut in half. And when you look at 7,000 people of our community attending fair, that's not even 25% of our community. And pre-COVID, and while there was a carnival present, it was well over a quarter of our community attending the fair. And so, and the fairgrounds and having that event as a part of their life. So the effort that the Fair Board is putting in order to make our community participate again is wonderful. And I just hope that everyone can be forward-thinking and jump on the train and try to push everyone to success. Because there are some challenges that are in front of them and that they'll need the community to be involved in trying to solve those challenges. And one thing I've always came to realize after having multiple individuals share with me is that you can't look behind you, you can't fix what has already happened, you can only look forward, and you can only spend your energy and your positivity on trying to create a better outlook for your community and for the people that you touch in your life. So fingers crossed, things seem to be moving forward, and so I hope our board can help support them as much as possible in their difficult position that they're in. I have had our child care meeting was postponed till next month, and I have not met with Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Our FTLAC meeting is coming up here mid-month. There is no state lands items on the Board of Forestry's agenda for this month, so it'll just be a discussion regarding legislation and how we as the Trustland counties can engage through AOC and through our lobbyists in order to hopefully position ourselves better just in regards to state lands. Beyond that, the bills are flying everywhere and it's hard to keep up with, and I need to talk with Amanda at some point because I'm gonna need her help to red flag me when things pop up because I can't be on it every day searching. But anyhow, that's it for this evening.
Lots going on. Thank you,
Yes.
Commissioner Bangs. Commissioner Wakua?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As I mentioned at the last meeting, unfortunately, I'm not there today. I'm dealing with some family issues, as you're aware, but I did work with Chair Quila, and I set up the first liaison assignment with Cedar. That will be in March. Unfortunately, I was not able to make the meeting this month, so I'll report back on that, and then I still have to communicate with the board on picking up another assignment or two and just see where we can go with that. But looking forward to it and just trying to prioritize these personal stuff first before I invest myself completely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Wakua. And then just real quickly, we talked a little bit about the $15 million levy improvement or water infrastructure bill, and there is going to be testimony next week. But I know we were going to be meeting Friday with Army Corps of Engineers to talk about kind of both county and city of Warrenton levy issues. So I think that'll be very helpful to get everybody at the table and see if there are some solutions. I did have the NOAA meeting last week. I guess the highlights from that is that NOAA's decided to bring the Housing Choice Voucher Program in-house. So that's something that they've currently been contracting with Quadel, which is a pretty massive contract to work with them to do the housing voucher program. And they've decided that they think they're staffed up enough that they can actually take that on themselves. There's going to be 3 new hires in 2025, which will be that voucher program director, the development project manager, and the RAID program manager. I do appreciate what Andy Shaw is bringing as the director. He's only been there a year. He's had a lot of work that he's
Excuse me, Chair.
Just bringing capacity into. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Wakua.
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. There's another phone, a phone number that's on, and they're not muted, and I'm hearing music play from their audio, and I can't quite hear what you're saying.
We have some interference going on.
Yeah, it's not another phone line, it's, because, can you hear us now?
Can you hear now?
I can hear, but there's almost like radio chatter in the background. I'm
Yeah.
picking up from somewhere, and it's showing
You
the
got-
other box as.
We had that during the planning commission yesterday.
Okay, we've got some feedback going on. I don't think we can really correct it, Commissioner Wakua. We'll speak louder. And then next is the Colpack meeting tomorrow and the Northwest Act, which will be tomorrow. And I will turn it over to the county manager.
Chair Quila, members of the board, there's been a kind of an interesting winter, a lot of inclement weather. Apparently we might be getting some more. I just want to thank Public Works and their staff for all the work they're doing, and obviously emergency management that communicates a lot of information during these events, the sheriff's office. We just have a lot of folks that have to work no matter what the road conditions are and whatever the challenges are. So I just want to give a shout out to all of our staff that are doing that. I also want to just, say that we are in the middle of our budget process, and I'd like to schedule some time to talk to your board as we get a little bit further in the process, to give you kind of previews before we get into the budget committee meetings, about what we're seeing and what some of the decisions, that we're going to have to make through this process. So you'll be seeing some on some of the future, rolling agendas. The other is, Commissioner Chakwila mentioned the meeting Friday with the Corps. I think it is going to be an important meeting to hopefully get a better sense of what the process is going to be moving forward with some certification efforts. We're also working with the Corps on trying to get the dredging done still out at Tongue Point, and I'll probably be talking to your board about that a little bit as we try to plan for some advocacy on behalf of Hayek and their efforts. And then, of course, we're still talking to the Arch Cape area about incorporation, so I will be spending some time on an upcoming board work session to talk about that. We had an initial discussion at one of our past board meetings, but I'd like to update you on where we are, because there'll be an agenda item that will be forthcoming if your board is ready to move forward. So, and that's all that I have, besides Monday is a holiday, so we'll see how that goes. So.
Now, thank you, County Manager, and certainly that is an effort that's worthy of investment, and that was a huge, the boat lift was a huge investment in that area. But then also, if you can't dredge those slips to bring boats in, then it's all for naught. And we're talking about some pretty interesting measures of sediment and what they think are polluted sediments and not. And I mean, we've done this before in the Warrenton Marinas, Hammond Marinas. This is something where common sense has to prevail and absolutely get this work done.
Yeah, Chair Quayle, members of the board, I think that, there is roughly $20 million of public investment that's gone into that boat lift. It's the largest electric boat lift in the world. And right now, the jobs can't be created because of the lack of a dredge channel. And so, and this is really the largest economic development opportunity for the county.
Yeah.
And so.
It needs to happen.
It's important.
Needs to happen.
Mr. Banks?
I just wanted to add, I know Terry's not here this evening, but I hope that you'll share with him. There you are. You're not over there. I can talk directly to him. You were hiding. I just want to say I've had multiple people reach out and say what an amazing job County Roads has done, especially in Napa. Our school did not have to have late starts a number of mornings when other schools did, because our county roads had rocked the ever-living daylights out of it, and I think sprayed. I'm not sure if you're allowed, but the roads have been amazing out there, and I don't travel much further than from there to town and then back, but all of our county roads, it's been nice, especially having a young driver in my house, knowing that the road is being well taken care of. But I wanted to share, because it wasn't just one message, it was multiple, so.
Yeah, great job, Public Works. All right, we'll move on to the business agenda, which is item 9, renewal of fairground operation levy, page 172. Kyle Sharpstein, our fair manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. So the fairgrounds runs on an operating levy for a big portion of its funding. The levy is set to expire in 2026. We've had the levy since 2006, and it's been renewed 3 times since then, so for 4 total cycles since then. The Fair Board is requesting that the County Board places a renewal of the levy at the same rate of 7 cents per 1,000 on the May election. This will help us, preserve and maintain our existing facilities, provide and expand affordable year-round events for the community programs, support free or reduced costs for youth, charitable, and public interest. For this next term, to formulate a strategic plan and, kind of really work out what the future of the fairgrounds is gonna look like. we need to prioritize some improvements and some repairs, and really strengthen our role as an emergency response center for the community. A good point to note is that the county hasn't had to contribute any general fund, dollars to the fairgrounds since the levy was initially passed in 2006. And we're asking for the board to approve the resolution in order and, have us place this on the ballot for the May election.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I appreciate that we've stayed at the same rate since 2006. Mr. Banks.
I just want to make note of the number of events that I go to at the fairgrounds. They not only donate the facility to nonprofits, but they work extremely hard with our community members to make sure that the facility is accessible to multiple levels of folks. And I just want to say I support the fairgrounds and I support the Fair Board and what they're trying to accomplish, and I see hope
Yeah.
in their future. And so one thing I would love, and I think either county staff or your staff, is basically an updated list of accomplishments over the last levy. Would that be like everything that they've accomplished since the last levy? Not before this vote, but definitely before it hits the ballot, so that it can be well advertised by the board and by obviously you guys, so.
Yeah, absolutely, we can work on that, and, if you approve this, we'll have, an item for the explanatory statement that will need to go with the actual application, for you guys to review at your next meeting, and, we'll try to hit on some of that stuff in that explanatory statement as well.
Yeah, it's good to be reminded about all the good things that are doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the amount of, I just want to make note, the amount of donations they donate the facility, so that allows all of our children to be able to partake in activities that don't have a cost, because the fairgrounds is shouldering that cost. And so I'm all for continuing that level of giving or helping facilitate it.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution and order calling for an election to consider Clatsop County Fairgrounds 5-year local option tax measure, ensuring continued funding for operations, maintenance, and the annual fair by placing the measure on May 20th, 2025 primary election ballot.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution in order calling for an election to consider the Clatsop County Fairgrounds 5-year local option tax measure, ensuring continued funding for operations, maintenance, and the annual fair by placing the measure on the May 20th, 2025 primary election ballot. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Kyle. Next, Assistant County Manager Monica Steele, and authorizing the purchase of property from Teven Investment Company for the purpose of constructing a Westport Ferry Road bypass, page 178.
Chair,
Monica.
Commissioners, thank you. Monica Steele, Assistant County Manager. As we have been long awaiting, we are set to close on the purchase of one property that is necessary for the Westport Ferry Road bypass, and this is with Teven Investments Company. We are planning to sign that document, the county manager, on the 14th, this Friday. And so we're asking that your board authorize the chair to sign the resolution so that Dawn may complete the purchase of this property. I'm available for any questions, and so is Terry.
I have a question.
Yeah, Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you. I have this little point about I like to see the dollar amounts in every motion. As I looked through, I thought I saw on page 181 that the amount was $701,294. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. I apologize for not including that in the motion.
I know you know what it is, but I'd just like to have that included in the motion, please.
Okay.
Can I steal your pen?
Well, I need to find it myself.
It's page 178.
The motion's on 178, but the amount is on page 181.
Can you read the amount again so I can put it?
$701,294.
Okay,
See, I knew you knew what it was.
there we go.
Thank you.
Can I just celebrate that I'm glad it's finally happening?
Okay, any other questions? Are we ready for a motion?
I move to authorize the county manager to sign all necessary closing documents associated with the land acquisition from Tevan Investment Company, Inc. for incorporated for property located on the tax map 8063600004009 for the amount of $701,294.
Second.
Am I wrong?
I
Did screw up a
apologize,
number?
I thought that there was an amended,
I think it
motion.
is. It's to
Amended.
Sign the,
resolution
I'll
and
go ahead
order.
and read that.
Okay,
so
I
that-
apologize.
Yeah, so I think it's moved and seconded to authorize the chair to sign the resolution in order to allow the county manager to sign all necessary closing documents associated with the land acquisition from Tevan Investment Company, Inc. for a property located on tax map 8063600004009 for the purpose of a Westport Ferry Road bypass in the amount of $701,294. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
What an accomplishment to get to this point.
Yeah.
Great job, Terry. Great job, Monica.
I almost screwed it up,
And of course, our county manager and county council and everybody that's worked on this.
Yeah, thank you for your work.
All right, next is solid waste franchise agreement, for Recology Western Oregon on page 214. I know we have Recology here this evening, so, feel free to come up if you'd like to provide any comment. This is another one that's been a long time in the making here.
Chair, Commissioners, so we are here tonight. Well, first of all, I'm Katie Hardesty, Operations Manager for Recology here on the coast, and this is?
Dan Blue, Government and Community Relations Manager for Recology Northern Oregon. Nice to see you again, Commissioners.
Thanks for being here.
On tonight, we have the franchise item before you, but before I dive into that and some comments, I just want to go, talk about employee ownership with Recology. It's something am very proud of, working for a company that has that. Employee ownership means every employee has stock in the company's success. And to have that success, we have to prioritize efficiency, safety, and customer service. And it also means that the earnings of the company stays with the employee through their time of employment locally and also into retirement.
That's great. Yeah.
So very proud of that.
Yeah.
So tonight we have the franchise agreement, and it's been on the table for a few years. I think we're all really excited to be seeing the end of this coming up and formalizing a relationship with the county. I'd really like to thank you all for the patience and the time that you've put into it, and also a special thank you to Anthony and Monica for the time and effort that they've put in over the years. It's been fantastic working with them. So the RMA, Oregon's Recycling Modernization Act, is going to help offset some of the costs we're going to have to implement this recycling in regards to carts and a truck for it, which means we'll have some help to offset the cost of that. Sorry. And then, go ahead.
You got it.
So we hope to implement the recycling services to all Recology customers in all of Clatsop County, hopefully by the end of the summer or early fall of this year. Anything I'm missing on that?
No, the rates that we put into place on July 1 are remaining in effect through until this upcoming July. Part of that is because we aren't exactly sure of the funding from the Recycling Modernization Act. We anticipate them to cover entirely the cost of the carts and a new truck for us to provide those services, which offset any impacts on rates for customers here in Clatsop County.
As soon as it's finalized, we get to start working with the county staff. We can't wait to roll this out. It's something we've been talking about within the company for quite a while. I'm very excited to get that opportunity to everybody in the county to be able to easily just recycle. And then I just have two other things I want to touch on. We were able to successfully split our Facebook pages from Coast and Valley operations, so now all of our coastal customers have up-to-date and relevant information on inclement weather and service interruptions and all of that, everything we can promote going on.
Yeah.
And then lastly, one of my favorite things is our Coastal Oregon Artist in Residency Program, who's just opened up. We're taking applications. This year, we've opened it up to a young adult as well as the 2 artists we have on there. So it's actually, I'm really excited about it because we get to promote and encourage young artists to keep doing what they're doing.
And the applications are open now, so if you know any artists, please, point them to our website, please.
Yeah, we love it. Other than that, if you have any questions, we're here. We also have more people to answer questions as well.
Get the full team. Yeah, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Commissioner Banks?
I don't have any questions. I'm just very happy I can vote yes, because one of the biggest concerns of my constituents was, potential rate increases and how everything else is just increasing and increasing and increasing. And so the fact that you've done so much hard work to try to minimize that impact to the people you serve means so much. And that is amazing. I'm very excited to hear this. So thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Yes, well done.
Well done. County Council, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I was just going to point out, just kind of to explain what the franchise agreement is. Back in May 22nd, 2024, the board granted Recology a exclusive franchise for part of the county. What this agreement is basically kind of outlining the relationship between the county and Recology, and that includes rate setting, compensation, billing, service standards, and financial reporting. And there's a lot of technical information in there, so I don't think we need to go over that unless you guys have questions. And just also want to point out this is a 5-year agreement, which aligns with the granting of the franchise.
Okay, great.
And one
Any
more
questions?
comment. I'm excited. 5.5 years, 4.5. Wow. I just aged myself an extra year without meaning to. 4.5 years ago, this was one of my goals, was recycling for unincorporated Clatsop County. And Warrenton was able to open the green bag situation, which has made lives easier for our community to recycle. But to do this, I hope that it will offset, burn barrels and other situations across our county and just make things easy for our constituents. And so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Banks. So we'll go ahead and wait for a motion.
I move to approve the solid waste franchise agreement with Recology Western Oregon and direct the county manager to sign. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the solid waste franchise agreement with Recology Western Oregon and direct the county manager to sign. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Congratulations. Thanks again, Monica, for all your work, County Council, and of course, the Recology team. Thanks for being here this evening. Thank you. This is quite an achievement.
County manager. It only took 4.5 years.
That's quick in some calendars, so, but yes, it took a while. Thanks for being patient.
Great job all around. Next is the public hearing, second reading of ordinance 24-23 to amend Title III, Chapter 3.16 of the Clatsop County Code to consolidate code actions 3.16 and 3.28, make other modifications and adjust the unincorporated and countywide transient lodging tax rates on page 248. So this is the continuation of a public hearing on ordinance 24-23. This is to amend Title III, Chapter 3.16 of the Clatsop County Code to consolidate code sections 3.16 and 3.28, make other modifications and adjust the unincorporated and countywide transient lodging tax rates. But before we get started with the second reading and public hearing on 24-13, I'd like to turn over some time to our county manager. So, County Manager.
Chair Quayla, members of the board, as we discussed in work session earlier, there are a number of bills that have been introduced at the legislature to modify potentially the formula distribution for the transient lodging tax. It's obviously in our many conversations about this topic, getting more flexibility for Clatsop County is very important as we move forward and try to address the impacts of tourism on mainly our public safety services. Given where we are with the legislature and given that the legislature will be working on legislation through June, we are asking that the board continue this public hearing until until July 23rd, at which time we will have clarity from the legislature and we will either amend the recommendation, affirm the recommendation, or remove the recommendation, depending on what may happen at the legislative level. So what we're asking for is your board just to continue this public hearing until July 23rd.
I agree. I think this is the prudent path forward. Any other comments, questions?
So, I'm sorry, Chair, I just wanted to clarify that, so the motion would be different than what's in the packet, and Chair Creel, I think.
To continue the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 24-23 to the July 23rd meeting would be the motion.
What are you saying? I move to continue the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 24-23 to the July 23rd meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded to continue the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 24-23 to the July 23rd meeting. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Anything for the good of the order?
Yes.
Commissioner Banks?
My daughter was one of the public speakers that got a blue. Just saying.
Oh, wow.
Her first time in FFA.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
So, anyhow.
Yeah, boy, there were a lot of,
Yeah,
accolades.
Astoria is doing great.
That's great. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you, everybody.